Hey guys, so I am going to very quickly explain the zero exponent and negative exponents. Let's start with a base of 5. Now if we add 5 to the third power, that means 5 times 5 times 5. Well, 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Let's move down. What if we had 5 squared? 5 squared is 5 times 5, or 25. If we add 5 to the first power, that's the same as just plain old 5. There's 1, 5 right there. Now here's a weird one. What if we had 5 to the 0 power? A common mistake is to say that 5 to the 0 power must be 0 because the exponent's 0, duh. Well, let me show you why that's not right, although it clearly looks like it would be right. Let's find a pattern in our answers. How do we get from 125 to 25? Well, we divided by 5. How did we get from 25 to 5? Well, we divided by 5. So it would make sense to get from 5 to the next answer, we would divide by 5. Well, 5 divided by 5 is 1. Anytime you have a number to the 0 power, your answer is going to be 1. I know that's super weird, but it's just something that you have to accept. Now I'm going to show you something even weirder, which is negative exponents. It's actually not as weird as it seems. Let's say we had 5 to the negative first power. If we continue with our pattern, we would divide 1 by, you guessed it, 5. Well, 1 divided by 5, that doesn't go smoothly into 1. You would get 0.2, so let's keep it as a fraction. 1 divided by 5. Let's do 5 to the negative second. Keeping with that same pattern. 1/5 divided by 5. Well, keep the 1. 5 and 5 make 25. And let's do 5 to the negative third. Keeping with the same pattern, 125 divided by 5 is 1 over 125. Okay, so the trick to negative exponents, you're going to put 1 at the top, fraction bar. Take your base and your exponent, throw away the negative sign, you don't need it. Put the base, put the exponent. Now in this case you don't need to keep the 1, it's really not important. So you get 1 over 5, done. Okay, 5 to the negative second. You're going to put 1 at the top, fraction bar, keep your base and your exponent, throw away the negative sign. 1 over 5 squared is the same as 1 over 25. And right here, I see a negative sign, I'm going to put a 1, fraction bar. Keep my base and my exponent, throw away the negative sign. 1 over 5 to the third is 125. So that's how you would do it in your head. So I'm also going to go over 2 different examples. Number 1, if they were to give you negative 5 in parentheses to the third power, Well, that's the same as negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. Well, that would give you negative 125. Parentheses, negative 5, parentheses, squared. Well, that's the same as negative 5 times negative 5. A negative times a negative is a positive 25. Negative 5 to the first. Well, that just means 1, negative 5. Here it is. Negative 5 to the 0 power. Okay, well, let's look again at our pattern. It's different this time. To go from negative 125 to 25, we actually had to divide by negative 5. Well, as you can see, that's the base. So each time you're dividing by the base. So negative 125 divided by negative 5 is 25. 25 divided by negative 5 is negative 5. And if we keep that pattern going, negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1. Yep. So just like before, we got an answer of 1 when our exponent was 0. Now this is the case because our negative number here is inside parentheses. So this meant everything in the parentheses was raised to the 0 power. So everything is to the 0 power. Anything that's not 0 to the 0 power is 1. So that's good. Now let's say we had negative 5 to the negative first power. Again, we're dividing by that negative 5. Well, 1 divided by negative 5, that's not pretty. So we're just going to do 1 over negative 5. And let's just do one more. Negative 5 to the negative second power. Again, we're dividing by negative 5. And 1 over negative 5 divided by negative 5. Keep the 1, oops, where's my equal sign? Keep the 1 at the top. Negative 5 and negative 5 make positive 25. So this process really wasn't that different. The only difference is that each time we were dividing by the base, which is negative 5. Okay, so the last thing I gave you was negative 5 inside parentheses. This time we're going to work with negative 5 when it's outside of parentheses. I need you to pay attention to this because it does show up quite frequently in algebra and it's a common mistake. So let's say we had negative 5 to the third power, same thing we've been doing. Okay, here's the deal. Since negative 5 is not in parentheses, that means that this 3 only applies to the 5. The negative sign's just chilling there. The 3 is only going to the 5, so what's going to happen is that that negative sign's going to just move on over here. And we're going to have 5 to the third power, which we know is 125. And that's that. Let's try it again. Negative 5 to the second power. Again, this 2 only applies to the 5, not the negative. So that negative's just chilling. 5 squared we know is 25. Negative 5 to the first power. That one only applies to the 5. Negative comes over here. 5 to the first power is just 5. This is also very important. Please pay attention to this part. I'm trying to make a star. Please pay attention. So many people mess this up. So many people, including myself, I used to as well. That 0 only applies to the 5, not the negative sign. This negative sign is just chilling, so we're going to let him come over here first. 5 to the 0 power we know is 1. Holy moly. This is the exception to the rule, along with 0 to the 0 power. This is the exception. When you see a negative sign, and there is no parentheses around the number, the 0 only applies to the number. Bring the negative sign over, and then do 5 to the 0 power. So bring the negative sign over first, then do the number to the 0 power. And let's just continue while we're at it. -5 to the negative first. What happens with that negative? Oh, it comes over. Good job. And then it's the same thing we've been doing. 1 goes at the top, fraction bar. I'm just doing the trick. 1 goes at the top, fraction bar. 5 to the first power. It's just 5. I guess I should show you the pattern again, right? How did we get from -125 to -25? We divided by 5. -25 to -5, divide by 5. -5 to -1. You guessed it. -1 to -1 over 5, divide by 5. Do you know why we're only dividing by 5? Yeah, because our base is actually just 5. That negative sign's chilling on the outside, but our real base is just 5. That's why the pattern looks like this. The more practice that you get with this, the more it starts to make sense. I don't want to ramble too much. We'd be here all day. Take this negative sign that's just chilling there and bring it over. Our trick was to put 1 at the top, fraction bar, bring 5 squared underneath. 5 squared is 25. Another way that we could do this is look at our pattern. If we divide by 5 again, -1 over 5 divided by 5 is -1 over 25. And I think that's good enough. Hopefully this makes sense. If you have any trouble with this or you want more examples, please let me know. I can make additional videos.